Hello, and welcome back to Your Health, Wealth, and Happiness. Do you ever wonder what colors look like to others? Do we see things all the same way? Today, we will be diving in talking about color blindness and its causes. To help answer these questions, we have Dr. Sadiq with us here today. Thank you for being here today, Dr. Sadiq.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's dive right in. What can you tell us a little bit about what color blindness is?
Sure, of course. Color blindness is a deficiency that prevents a person from being able to differentiate colors in a normal way. About 8% of men and 0.5% of women are colorblind.
So what exactly causes that color blindness?
Human eye contains a special type of, I would say, a part which we call cones.
Okay.
Not the ice cream cones, cones. So these cones are actually, one type of cones are for red color, one are for green, and the one are for blue. And each of these cones are very sensitive to a certain wavelength, and that's actually that are sensitive to certain colors. That's how it works. Sometimes they are more sensitive than the normal, and if there is no sensitive to all the colors, and then that is of course causes a problem, and that is what we call color blindness.
Well, that's very interesting. Is being colorblind genetic at all?
Yes, of course. Mostly it is considered as a genetic.
And I've heard it said that people who are colorblind only tend to see in shades of gray. Is that true?
Actually, that is a misconception. It is very rare for a colorblind person to only see gray color. Typically, there are certain colors that the person will mix up, and the colors, or they will be washed out. They are not able to differentiate the colors.
Okay.
So not all the time gray only.
Okay. So which colors cause problems for those who are colorblind? Is one type of color blindness more common than the others?
Actually, red-green color deficiency is the most common. And then sometimes there can be deficiency where people can mix up blue and yellow. So you will be able to see you will find people who will say they cannot actually differentiate between red and green.
Well, it seems like with that red and green color blindness, it could cause a huge problem with people, especially when it comes to traffic lights. What are some treatments that people could use or distinguish these colors?
Unfortunately, there is no treatment, but what we can do is we can actually sometimes have a special lenses which help us to enhance or increase the perception of certain colors, so that can be helpful. And the other thing is sometimes, we can train the patients that they can, instead of differentiating between the colors, they can actually differentiate where the colors are. Like on the top, it's red, and then yellow, and then green. So that can help, because it can be very dangerous not to be able to drive the car at the right time.
Well, these are very helpful hints to those who are suffering from distinguishing and colorblind. But I have a few questions I want to ask you now. True or false?
Sure.
Okay. True or false? Individuals who are colorblind cannot see the color red.
That is false. The term color blindness is very misleading. It doesn't mean that they cannot see the color red, but rather they have trouble distinguishing the red from another color, such as green. They can see, but they cannot differentiate.
Okay. Another true or false question. A colorblind person can differentiate about 20 hues from each other, whereas someone with normal eyesight or vision can see about 100 hues.
That is true. The normal vision will allow a person to see many more colors and hues.
And true or false? There are different levels of severity to blindness.
Yes, that's true. It can be very mild, or it can be moderate, or it can be actually very strong, and then it can be absolute.
That's interesting to know. Well, I have one last question for you today.
Am I passing or failing?
I have to say you're flying with colors. My last question for you then is, what should you do if you think you're colorblind, or you may have a child who's colorblind?
Definitely go and see a doctor, and they can run some tests to determine whether you or your child has a color vision deficiency or not. The important thing is not to get panic.
Well, I thank you, Dr. Sadiq, for being here and sharing your knowledge and expertise. Do you have any final thoughts for our viewers?
I will advise take care of yourself, and if you're facing such kind of problems, do not wait, do not hesitate to ask people and go to the doctor. They will actually guide you what you can do the next step.
All right, well, thank you again so
Thank
much. And until next time, viewers, stay healthy, happy, and live better.